Hi, I am Nirmala Devi, serving as Assistant Professor in the Department of Biochemistry, Biotechnology and Bioinformatics, Avinash Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women. Hi students, today we are just going to see the production of food additives and supplements. Before going into that, let us see what are food additives. Food additives are the one which are giving preservation action and many other properties in the food. As all of us know, any food or the food product contains number of ingredients, and each and every ingredient that is present in the food has a definite role. And as all of us know, it's a century-old practice carried by our ancestors, that is the addition of salt to preserve fish or meat, or addition of herbs and spices to improve the flavor of the food. For instance, we all add cardamom to improve the fragrance of the food that we prepare. And also we have the practice of preserving food by the addition of sugar, and also the pickled cucumbers that should be preserved in the vinegar solution. But today the consumers, they demand and enjoy a food supply that is more flavorful, nutritious. At the same time, it should be safe, convenient, colorful, and that should be highly affordable also. So food additives and the advances in this area of technology help make this possible. The main objectives of this module is to discuss about the types and functions of food additives, and also to describe about the production methods of food additives and other supplements. Now let us see what are called intentional food additives. The intentional food additives therefore include preservatives, antioxidants, sequestrants, surface active agents, stabilizers and thickeners, bleaching and maturing agents, and starch modifiers, buffers, acids and alkalis, food colors, non-nutritive special dietary sweeteners, nutrient supplements, flavoring agents, and miscellaneous additives. Intentional food additives are used for number 1, nutritive value, freshness maintenance, thirdly, sensory quality improvement, and in some cases these are used as processing aids. The food additives are used to preserve the quality of the food and maintain its appeal, and at times to restore diminished nutritional value also. Wastage of food is a national loss and should be avoided at all costs. The following are the principles governing the use of a food additive: technologically effective, safe in use, absolutely necessary quantity, never with the intention of misleading the consumer about the nature or the quality of a food, and finally, minimum use of non-nutrient food additives. Now let us see the functional characteristics of the chemical additives, which may be varied. Preservatives. These are compulsorily used for the prevention of microbiological spoilage, chemical deterioration, and control of insects and rodents. Nutritional supplements, which include vitamins, amino acids, and minerals. Thirdly, color modifiers. These are natural coloring matter, certified food dyes and derived colors. Flavoring agents. These may be the synthetic or natural ones and are mainly flavor enhancers or extenders. Firming agents and maturing agents. These are mainly the chemicals that affect the functional properties of foods, that will control of the colloidal properties of gels, emulsions, foams, and suspensions. Anti-foaming agents, chelating agents, and yeast nutrients. These are again chemicals used to process food for sanitation, public health, and or aesthetic purposes to facilitate the removal of unwanted coverings. Anti-caking agents and waxes. These are again chemicals used to control the moisture content. Acids, bases, and salts, commonly known as chemicals, and are used to control pH. Ripening agents, again, they are chemicals in their nature and are used to control physiological functions in order to hasten the ripening process. Miscellaneous chemicals, again, these include gases which are used for pressure dispensing. Why are additives used in foods? Additives are used in foods for 5 main reasons. Number 1 reason is to maintain the product consistency. Emulsifiers generally they give a consistent texture to products, while stabilizers and thickeners give smooth uniform texture. Anti-caking agents help substances such as salt to flow freely. To improve or maintain nutritional value, these vitamins and minerals are added to many common foods such as milk, flour, cereal and margarine to make up for those likely to be lacking in a person's diet or lost in processing. Thirdly, to maintain the palatability and wholesomeness. Preservatives retard product spoilage caused by mold, air, bacteria, fungi or yeast. Bacterial contamination can cause foodborne illness including life-threatening botulism caused by Clostridium botulinum. Antioxidants or preservatives that prevent fats and oils in baked goods and other foods from becoming rancid or developing an off flavor. They also prevent cut fresh fruits such as apples from turning brown when exposed to air. To provide leavening or control acidity or alkalinity, these are used. Leavening agents that release acids when heated can react with baking soda to help cakes, biscuits and other baked goods to rise during the baking process. Other additives help modify the acidity and alkalinity of foods for proper flavor, taste and color. To enhance flavor or impart desired color, many spices, natural and synthetic flavors enhance the taste of foods. Colors likewise enhance the appearance of certain foods to meet consumer expectations. Now let us move on to the classification of food additives. There are 4 general categories of food additives: nutritional additives, processing agents, preservatives and sensory agents. These are not strict classifications as many additives fall into more than one category. The first category includes nutritional additives. Nutritional additives are used for the purpose of restoring nutrients lost or degraded during production, fortification or enriching certain foods in order to correct dietary deficiencies or adding nutrients to food substitutes. The fortification of foods began in the year 1924 when iodine was added to table salt for the prevention of goiter. Vitamins are commonly added to many foods in order to enrich their nutritional value. For example, vitamins A and vitamin D are added to dairy and cereal products. Several of the B vitamins are added to flour, cereals, baked goods and pasta, and vitamin C is added to fruit beverages, cereals, dairy products and confectionaries. Other nutritional additives include the essential fatty acid, linoleic acid, minerals such as calcium and iron and dietary fiber. The second class is the processing agents. A number of agents are added to foods in order to aid in processing or to maintain the desired consistency of the product. Emulsifiers, in fact, they are used to maintain a uniform dispersion of one liquid in another, such as oil in water. The basic structure of an emulsifying agent includes a hydrophobic portion, usually a long chain fatty acid, and a hydrophilic portion that may be either charged or uncharged. The hydrophobic portion of the emulsifier dissolves in the oil phase. Hydrophilic portion dissolves in the aqueous phase, forming a dispersion of small oil droplets. Thus, emulsifiers form and stabilize oil in water emulsion. Example, mayonnaise. Uniformly disperse oil-soluble flavor compounds throughout the product and prevent large ice crystal formation in frozen products. Example, ice cream. And to improve the volume, uniformity and fineness of the baked products. Stabilizers and thickeners, on the other hand, have many other functions in foods. Most stabilizing and thickening agents are polysaccharides such as starch or gums, or proteins such as gelatin. The primary function of these compounds is to act as thickening or gelling agents that increase the viscosity of the final product. These agents stabilize emulsions either by absorbing to the outer surface of the oil droplets or by increasing the viscosity of the water phase. Thus, they prevent the coalescence of the oil droplets, promoting the separation of the oil phase from the formation of the aqueous phase, that is creaming. The formation and stabilization of foam in a food product occurs by a similar mechanism, except that the oil phase is replaced by a gas phase. The compound also acts to inhibit the formation of ice or sugar crystals in foods and can be used to encapsulate flavor compounds. Now let us see the production of food additives, that is hydrocolloids. Hydrocolloids are thickening, gelling and stabilization agents which play a major role in numerous food and beverage products. The water binding properties of hydrocolloids are used for viscosifying and gelling purposes in food. Several of the products also interact with proteins, allowing for protein stabilization and protection applications. To a large extent, the use of hydrocolloids also influences the texture and consequently the mouthfeel and eating experience of foods. Xanthan gum is the most versatile microbial exopolysaccharide and it is produced by the phytopathogen bacteria Xanthomonas campestris. It is largely used in food industry either alone or in association with other polysaccharides as galactomannans or glucomannans, reflecting its physicochemical properties as a gelling, emulsifying, thickening and stabilizing agent. The xanthan gum is produced in batch fermentation. Components of the media used in industry are mainly inexpensive and complex, being natural raw materials. Successful fermentation requires a clear understanding of the microbial environment with particular attention to the high viscosity of the fermentation broth. The kinetics is influenced significantly by spatial variations in the concentrations of substrate, biomass and the polymer itself. Now let us see the production of monosodium glutamate. Among the 4 production methods for amino acids, extraction, synthesis, fermentation and enzymatic catalysis, it is particularly the last 2 biotechnological processes with their economic and ecological advantages that are responsible for this spectacular growth. The extraction method for obtaining L-glutamate was superseded nearly 50 years ago by fermentation following a sharp increase in demand for the flavor enhancer monosodium glutamate. The discovery of the soil bacterium Corynebacterium glutamicum, which is capable of producing L-glutamic acid with high productivity from sugar, paved the way for the success of the fermentation technique in amino acid production. The fermentation process is in principle very simple. A fermentation tank is charged under sterile conditions with a culture medium containing a suitable carbon source such as sugarcane syrup, as well as the required nitrogen, sulfur and phosphorus sources and some trace elements. A culture of the production to the fermentation tank and stood under specified conditions, that is optimum temperature, pH and aeration, the L-glutamic acid released by the microorganism into the fermentation solution is then obtained by crystallization in the recovery section of the fermentation plant. Monosodium glutamate, nearly 1.5 million tons, is currently produced each year by this method, making L-glutamic acid the number one amino acid in terms of production capacity and demand. The third category of the classification includes preservatives. Food preservatives are further classified into two main groups, that is antioxidants and antimicrobials. Antioxidants are compounds that delay or prevent the deterioration of foods by oxidative mechanism. Antimicrobial agent, that is the second class of the preservative, which will inhibit the growth of spoilage and pathogenic microorganisms in food. Antioxidants are capable of delaying, retarding or preventing rancidity in food by inhibiting oxidation of some susceptible components of food such as oil, fat and vitamins. Oxidation of fats is centered around unsaturated fatty acids, primarily linolenic and arachidonic acids, resulting in the loss of these very valuable essential fatty acids. As all of us know, linolenic and arachidonic acids are the essential fatty acids. Besides, flavor deterioration in essential oils and undesirable changes brought about by the action of oxygen for color fading and browning are also arrested by the use of antioxidants. Antimicrobials are most often used with other preservation techniques such as refrigeration in order to inhibit the growth of spoilage and pathogenic microorganisms. Sodium chloride or common salt is probably the oldest known antimicrobial agent. Organic acids including acetic acid, benzoic, propionic and sorbic acids are used against microorganisms in products with a low pH. Nitrates and nitrites are used to inhibit the bacterium Clostridium botulinum in cured meat products. Sulfur dioxide and sulfides are used to control the growth of spoilage microorganisms in dried fruits, fruit juices and wines. Nisin and natamycin are the preservatives that are produced by the microbes. Nisin inhibits the growth of some bacteria while natamycin is active against molds and yeast. Nisin is an antimicrobial peptide produced by several strains of Lactococcus lactis belonging to the class 1 bacteriocins called lantibiotics, which are small in size, that is 3353 Dalton in their weight, cationic, hydrophobic and 34 amino acid peptide that contains 1 lanthionine and 4 alpha methyl lanthionine rings and unusual residues as dehydroalanine and dehydrobutrin. Use of nisin to control spoilage lactic acid bacteria have been identified in beer, wine, alcohol production and low pH food such as salad dressings, and further developments of nisin are likely to include synergistic action of nisin with chelators and other bacteriocins and its use as adjunct in novel food processing technology. Nisin has to be produced in a sterilized medium of non-fat milk solids or of a non-milk based fermentation source such as yeast extract and carbohydrate solids. Nisin can be recovered from the fermentation medium by various methods such as injecting sterile compressed air, that is for froth concentration, membrane filtration, acidification, salting out and spray drying. Non-fat milk solids or solids from other fermentation sources are present in the product. Now let us see the fourth class, sensory agents. Colorants is an extremely important sensory characteristics of foods. It directly influences the perception of both the flavor and the quality of a product. The processing of food can cause degradation or loss of natural pigments in the raw materials. In addition, some formulated products such as soft drinks, confections, ice cream and snack foods require the addition of coloring agents. Colorants are often necessary to produce a uniform product from raw materials that vary in color intensity. Colorants used as food additives are again classified either as natural or synthetic ones. Natural colorants are derived from plant, animal and mineral sources, while synthetic colorants are primarily petroleum-based chemical compounds. Most natural colorants are extracts derived from plant tissues. The use of these extracts in the food industry has certain problems associated with it, including the lack of consistent color intensities, instability upon exposure to light and heat, variability of supply, reactivity with other food components, and addition of secondary flavors and odors. In addition, many are insoluble in water and therefore must be added with an emulsifier in order to achieve an even distribution throughout the food product. Synthetic colorants. These are water soluble and are available commercially as powders, pastes, granules or solutions. Special preparations called lakes are formulated by treating the colorants with aluminum hydroxide. They contain approximately 10 to 40% of the synthetic dye and are insoluble in water and organic solvents. Lakes are ideal for use in dry and oil based products. Stability of synthetic colorants is affected by light, heat, pH and reducing agents. Flavorings. The flavor of food results from the stimulation of the chemical senses of taste and smell by specific food molecules. Taste reception is carried out in specialized cells located in the taste buds. The 5 basic taste sensations include sweet, salty, bitter, sour and umami, which are detected in the regions of the tongue, mouth and throat. Taste cells are specific for certain flavor molecules, example sweeteners. In addition to the basic tastes, the flavoring molecules in food stimulate specific olfactory cells in the nasal cavity. These cells can detect more than 10,000 different stimuli, thus fine-tuning the flavor sensation of a food. A flavor additive is a single chemical or blend of chemicals of natural or synthetic origin that provides all or part of the flavor impact of a particular food. These chemicals are added in order to replace flavor lost in processing and to develop new products. Flavorings are the largest group of food additives with more than 1,200 compounds available for commercial purpose. Natural flavorings are derived or extracted from plants, spices, herbs, animals or microbial fermentations. Artificial flavorings are mixtures of synthetic compounds that may be chemically identical to natural flavorings. Artificial flavorings are often used in food products because of the high cost, lack of availability or insufficient potency of natural flavorings. Flavor enhancers are compounds that are added to a food in order to supplement or enhance its own natural flavor. The concept of flavor enhancement originated in Asia, where cooks added seaweed to soup stocks in order to provide a richer flavor to certain foods. The flavor enhancing component of seaweed was identified as the amino acid L-glutamate, and monosodium glutamate became the first flavor enhancer to be used commercially. The rich flavor associated with L-glutamate was called as umami. Other compounds that are used as flavor enhancers include the 5' ribonucleotides, inosine monophosphate, guanosine monophosphate, yeast extract, and hydrolyzed vegetable protein. Flavor enhancers may be used in soups, broths, sauces, gravies, flavoring and spice blends, canned and frozen vegetables and meats. Now let us see the production of flavoring agents with ketone as an example. The most important ketone aroma is 2,3-butadiene, that is diacetyl, which is related to the flavor of butter. It is produced by lactic acid bacteria and other microorganisms present in food and are therefore readily available. Methyl ketones such as 2-heptanone are the largest contributors to stale flavors in ultra-high temperature processing milk and are used for the flavoring of blue cheese. An interesting method to produce 2-heptanone has been developed by Laroque and his co-workers in the year 1992 with spores of Penicillium roqueforti in a water organic solvent two-phase system. Let us see terpenes and terpenoids. These are the molecules composed of isoprene units and can be found in the essential oil of plants. The terpenes with the highest flavor intensity are geraniol, citronellol, nerol and linalool. The bioprocess was performed with in situ product recovery using hexadecane in a biphasic medium and by sequential feeding of biomass and precursor to compensate the irreversible biocatalyst inactivation by the product. Now let us see the production of acidulants. These are a group of acidic substances used to import a sour taste. The acidulants occur naturally in many foods, example malic acid in apples, tartaric acid in grapes and tamarind, citric acid in lemon, lime and oranges, and the choice of an acidulant is directed very often by the color and flavor of the final product. Usually, a mixture of one or more acidulants is used to achieve the desired product. Examples of acidulants that are being used in the food industry are citric acid, fumaric acid, tartaric acid, malic acid and phosphoric acid. Soft drink industry is the major consumer of these acidulants. In addition to their preservative and flavor enhancing effects, organic acids are used to improve gelling properties and texture. They are also used as cleaners of dairy equipment. Acidulants may be used in the manufacture of processed cheese and cheese spread for the purpose of emulsification as well as to provide a desirable tartness. Acid salts may be added to soft drinks to provide a buffering action to prevent excess acidity. In some cases, acid salts are used to inhibit mold growth. Citric acid has several uses in the food industry. Citric acid was originally extracted from lemon and lime, but it is now produced commercially by a fermentation process. Its production currently uses submerged or surface fermentation process with beet molasses or glucose syrup as the main raw material. The mold Aspergillus niger is used to ferment its carbohydrate source even if citric acid fermentation was first found as a fungal product in cultures of Penicillium glaucum on sugar medium. Acetic acid is produced both synthetically and by bacterial fermentation. Today, the biological route accounts for only about 10% of the world production, but it remains important for vinegar production. As many nations, food purity laws stipulate that vinegar used in foods must be of biological origin. Acetic acid is widely used, particularly in the pickling industry. Acetic acid has excellent bacteriostatic properties and hence has considerable importance as a preservative. It is produced from sugar-rich materials by successive anaerobic and aerobic fermentation. The first step of the process involves production of alcohol solution from sugar through yeast enzymes. Then, the conversion of alcohol to acetic acid is classically made by acetic acid bacteria of the genus Acetobacter. Most vinegar today is made in submerged tank culture first described in the year 1949 by Hromadka and Ebner. In this method, alcohol is fermented to vinegar in a continuously bubbling air through the solution. Using modern applications of this method, vinegar of 15% acetic acid can be prepared in only 24 hours in batch process and up to 20% in 60 hours fed batch process. Sweeteners. Sucrose or table sugar is the standard on which the relative sweetness of all other sweeteners is based. Because sucrose provides energy in the form of carbohydrates, it is considered a nutritive sweetener. Other nutritive sweeteners include glucose, fructose, corn syrup, high fructose and sugar alcohols. Efforts to chemically synthesize sweeteners began in the late 18th century with the discovery of saccharin. Since then, a number of synthetic compounds have been developed that provide few or no calories or nutrients in the diet and are called non-nutritive sweeteners. These sweeteners have significantly greater sweetening power than sucrose and therefore a relatively low concentration may be used in food products. In addition to saccharin, the most commonly used non-nutritive sweeteners are cyclamates, aspartame and acesulfame K. Non-nutritive sweeteners are primarily used for the production of low-calorie products including baked goods, confectioneries, dairy products, desserts, soft drinks and tabletop sweeteners. Unlike nutritive sweeteners, non-nutritive sweeteners do not provide viscosity or texture to products, so bulking agents such as polydextrose are often required for manufacture. To conclude this module of lesson, I am very sure in the near future we are very much happy to welcome the innovative strategies for the food additive production that will definitely based on the advantage of the immense progress currently we are expecting in the field of upcoming field of proteomics, genomics and now we have very many number of genome sequences available with which we can find the better enzyme that could be enabling the process of food additive production and thereby finally we will land up with the help of genetic engineering to produce an innovative and recent technology for the production of food additive in a better manner. That is why the coming years the feasibility of this novel food additive products production will depend definitely on the tissue and metabolic engineering processes.